This is the Chad and Jesse Poker Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of the Chad and Jesse Poker Show. I'm Chad Holloway, joined by my man, Jesse Fullen, and we've got a good one today. Our guest is none other than Steve Buckner, a.k.a. Cuz, who, of course, tore it up on the World Poker Tour last year. He's here at the 2023 World Series of Poker, looking to win his first bracelet. But before we get into all that, before we get into our Calling the Clock segment, Jesse, we need to thank one of our sponsors.
That's right. Global Poker has a not brand new. They have another great championship series that just wrapped up the Rattlesnake Open. But following it immediately is the Bounty Series number 5. It kicked off Monday, just a few days ago, and it runs through this coming Sunday. We've got a special gift for you from PokerNews. If you've never played on Global Poker before, use code PokerNews. A little special offer that we got thanks to our friends over there. Check it out. Bounty Series 5 running through this coming Sunday.
You know, speaking of kicking off, we're getting ready here at the World Series of Poker. Tomorrow, the $300 Gladiator event is going to kick off. This is a $3 million guaranteed tournament. Jesse, you said you might try to play it. And I'm just curious, do you think this is going to be a record-setting event? Do you think is there buzz about it? What's your general consensus on it?
Man, I mean, listen, we had an amazing start with the Mystery Millions, 18,000 runners to start the very first weekend of this WSOP. I think that tells us a good story already. That was a 1K buy-in. This is a $300 buy-in. This is going to bring in those same players, plus everybody who's got any money left in their bank account. I mean, this is going to hit, I would be surprised if it doesn't hit 25 or maybe 30,000 runners. I think we're going to break records. I think that the stars are in line, buddy.
I hope you're right.
I saw you react. You don't think that's the case.
I just feel like the Mystery Millions got so much attention. People were so excited about that maybe that was the one they wanted to play instead of the Gladiator. Now, you're not wrong. The $300 price point is great. And that's certainly it's going to get good numbers by all means. I just don't know if it has the excitement that it should. Because I think the Mystery Millions was that one. It just maybe is too close together, in my opinion.
Chad, how often can you play for a bracelet for the same price as your hotel room that night?
I mean, that is a good point.
Pretty rare.
That is a good point. And it is a $3 million guaranteed prize pool, which for a $300 buy-in, you're not going to see that, every day by any means.
Once a year, probably at the World Series Poker. That's
and let me pull up the structure sheet here. It is, let's see, it's many starting flights, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's because you said you're going to play Saturday, and this is kicking off on a Wednesday. So let's see. Flight A is on Wednesday, June 7th. Flight B on Thursday. Flight C on Friday. And Flight D on Saturday. So 4 flights. It says players eliminated may re-enter twice per flight, which seems smart.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of people firing away. The lines, they're going to be big, though.
Holy shit, yeah. Oh, man. I mean, we saw the hallways already with the Mystery Millions. I mean, I saw a picture. It looked like someplace I don't want to be. I know it's what Saturday's going to be, and I'll be here in the middle of it. And I'm kind of actually I'm excited. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to fucking leave the table 5 minutes before break starts every time.
Right.
Because there's just no way in hell I'm going to get caught in that whole stampede.
And not you specifically, but if any players are going to re-enter, because like I said, you could fire twice per flight, re-enter twice per flight. So foreseeably, you could fire 3 bullets in each flight. You could register 3 times, I believe, in one go, and then get refunded on the ones that you don't use. I think John Hennigan just did that in the 25K high roller. I could be mistaken, but I'd be willing to bet a buy-in on it.
But I just need 1 bullet.
Well, I know. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying
3
a little tip for anybody who's listening who might be thinking, I'm going to re-enter this.
Get back in line.
Yeah, I don't want to go wait in line. So it's just something you can do to prepare. Come in advance, register in advance. Don't show up the day of, and you're going to be standing in line. It could take you a long time before you get to see it. Come in the night before. If you come into the WSOP at midnight to that 9 a.m. range, it's pretty dead here. There's hardly any lines. There might be some people that's the smart move to do, in my opinion.
Without a doubt, but most poker players aren't smart. Anyways, let's talk about something else here. Chad, if you had the opportunity of a $300 deep stack or a $300 bracelet event, which would you choose?
The bracelet. It carries such weight. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Right. Even though there's so many bracelets given away, that still has a lot of weight. I think that has withstood the test of time and withstood the test of adding or doubling the size of the schedule and adding all these online bracelets. People still care about the bracelet. That's a really good thing. And so when people say do the prices pull the value of the bracelet down, we've seen the answer is no. because if that was the case, there wouldn't be this many people showing up for events like this. Okay, the Mystery Millions was massive because of 3 shots at $1 million, which is crazy. We'll talk about that more during the Calling the Clock. But yeah, I think that, originally I was not a fan of these lower cost bracelet events. I thought that it would really just be something I wasn't interested in. But now I'm here and I'm fucking loving it.
All right. I mean, would you be opposed to them doing this every weekend? $300 event every weekend or something like that?
It wouldn't be WSOP if it did that, because WSOP, one thing they do is they try to be something for everybody, which I'm talking to Jack about the schedule. He was very obviously, he's just in love with it. And I think that he did a great job this year. The whole team did. And part of that is that they have something for everybody. It's for the weekend warriors, for the people who have no budget bankroll, for the people who are looking for the high stuff. I mean, there's an opportunity for the mystery bounty stuff. I mean, it's just, you can't have it every weekend because then you're only addressing one part of the poker community. So that's just not a thing. So they have one here. They have, a similar low cost one for, saluting the veterans and stuff like that. They have them on the road. They really want to offer something for everyone. So not every weekend, but they would never do that.
Yeah. And one thing I do like, and I got to give credit to them, is the WSOP there still is going to be headaches. There's going to be long lines. They're not always going to get everything right. They have ironed out a lot of the wrinkles over the years, especially this being the second year here at the Horseshoe in Paris. Just an instance, I was playing in events where I late regged and there was a pretty long late reg line. And instead of waiting for us to get up at the late reg table to show them our ID, to show them our registration slips, and then to get our chips, they were a lot more proactive. The floor was going down the line, show me your ID, show me your slip, and then she would sign it so that when you got to the table, all you had to do is set it down, you'd get your chips, and you'd get in. And I just use that as an example of a process that the WSOPs, they do little things like that to help speed it up. And that's how they can churn out 20, 25,000, 30,000 entries. I'm just trying to give credit where credit is due.
Without doubt.
Yeah, they're learning these systems, and the learning curve from last year to this year was huge. Like, there's certain things, if you notice, largely the setup is the same, but there are a few little tweaks here and there. Like, all right, we no longer have the payout desk in the Horseshoe side over here in the ballroom. Let's put it closer to the door. And just little things like that, I think is going to make it a lot easier when they have these massive events.
Yesterday I finally cashed out from my employee event, 33rd place. Yeah, yeehaw. But I waited a while because I just knew there'd be lines with all the big events and stuff like that. And I waited till yesterday. Someone in line behind me was complaining. Of course, we hear this a lot. Someone was complaining about why this wasn't good or this wasn't good. And he compared it to an event where they had the chips ready to pay out. Like, oh, it was so much easier, so much better that way. I'm just like, I held my tongue. I didn't say anything, but God, man, that place doesn't hold 8 tournaments a day with one holding 18,000 in the field. The WSOP is a completely different beast from every other tournament. Even the WPT massive event in December, it's just a little different. I mean, it's the what happens here is unlike anything else in the world. I mean, you can compare it to the big PokerStars events or the big WPT events, but it's still nowhere else is there this much going on all throughout the day, all the different day 2s, day 3s, these massive long events, plus the broadcast studio. It's just like, it's fucking insane. And they still land it, in my opinion. They land it well. It's like a Olympic gymnast who, tumbles in the air and then boom, lands it. Like, I'm happy with it.
It reminds me, the criticisms are everywhere. We even get it at Poker News, right? With our live updates. Oh, it should be so easy. It's not. It's not easy to live report hands. It might seem like it on the face of things, and likewise with the WSOP. It's not as easy as it looks. In fact, I think it would be a fun documentary behind the scenes of the World Series of Poker and diving into the logistics and what it takes to coordinate the dealers.
No one would watch that.
I would watch it.
You
would watch it.
I think
people would. Yeah, that would be good.
No.
Yeah, to see everything that would happen. People would watch it, Jesse.
No, you're wrong.
No, I know you're being sarcastic. People would fucking watch it. And I would watch it. I would like to see it and give people behind the scenes look at exactly what goes down and what it takes to pull off an operation the size of the World Series of Poker.
How many documentaries? Okay.
Did you watch Dreamers?
No.
Oh, well, sorry, Tom Wheaton. It's great. I love it.
I did. I was thinking about Champions. I was thinking about Champions. Fuck you. God, you're so... Look at this. This Chad and Jesse show. That's the last episode, you guys. Last one. Hope you liked it. I thought it was okay until now. No, I watch streamers. Yeah, no, it's just
then
different,
you would
man.
watch a documentary like that. That's all I'm saying.
I just fear that people will, they have their opinion. That's why I didn't talk to the guy in line behind me, because I know that when people have a strong opinion, like no matter what I say, I could be right. It won't change his opinion because he has his experience, his thoughts. When it comes to poker news, people think it's just this easy. They don't know how many new rookies we have to hire. They don't know all the process and the time it takes to hire 60, 70 people and to put them to try to get through. And to think for us, it's like we try to get them learning on the ground plus what we did beforehand. But it doesn't matter. If ODB's not in the fucking chip counts, then Poker News isn't doing their job. And it's like, listen, man, it's just the way the stars were aligned that day. That's just how it worked out. And yeah, the updates weren't all. I mean, it just, but it's the whole picture. The whole picture is great. It's just if you zoom in on that one part where the paint splashed. Yeah, okay, that's not the painting though. The painting is this whole fucking thing with 70 people and all the people in the whole fucking summer, and that's where.
Yeah, and especially with an event like the Gladiator, this is going to be as massive as it is. It's going to take up the ballroom in Paris. It's going to spill over here. Yeah, it's going to be massive. It's going to be a big operation for us to do the live updates. It's going to be a big operation for the WSOP, and I'm excited about it. $300 buy-in, it's $3 million guaranteed. I don't know what's first going to pay in an event like that. It's got to be close to $1 million. Maybe not, because that's a $3 million guarantee. If it's
just a guarantee, right?
Yeah, right. So it could be even larger. To be able to turn a $300 buy-in to $1 million or at least high six figures, I would think on the low end of things. That's a once in a year tournament type of opportunity. I can't play it, unfortunately. I'm working literally every day one, and I know you get to fire one. So hopefully you can do what you did in the casino employees event.
Fingers crossed, man.
Build a stack. Build up. Can you imagine if you bagged the second biggest stack in the Gladiator or something?
I can because I did that in the play event. Yeah. So it's something I can remember.
A little bit smaller. What was that? 1,015 entries, and this one is going to get, like we said, I don't know, 25, 30,000, something like that. A
little different. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks, Chad. We're going to move on to our segment, Calling the Clock. We got 8 brand new topics this week to talk about. Chad, I think it's a lot of fun that we do this topic, this series, this whole thing, Calling the Clock. But the hardest part is finding these 8 topics, man. So what we've been doing is we've got a Twitter space that I run Mondays and Thursdays, the day before we film, around 1 or 2 o'clock, just to have notifications turned on if you want to jump in, because I asked the community to help me out. I've got my topics already come up with. I weigh in with them, and today we brought up 1 or 2 that came from the community. So appreciate those people who were in the Twitter space yesterday. And with that, let's get the clock started. Actually, let's bring in Bob Smith. We got a little video series. What we're going to introduce, Calling the Clock.
Clock has been called. You now have 2 minutes to talk about these 8 topics. At the end of 1:55, there'll be a 5-second countdown. If I say the word 0, that topic is dead.
All right, Chad Holloway, it's time for Calling the Clock. First topic is Nick Schulman wins the stud. What you think?
Yeah, Nick Schulman is a guy that everybody seems to love. He's universally regarded as one of the best, if not the best, poker commentators for whenever he's on a show. And he's a hell of a poker player as well. As you mentioned, this is his 4th World Series of Poker bracelet. I believe they're all in mixed games, none in No Limit Hold'em. And in this particular one, it was pretty badass because he showed up for the final table, which was a stacked affair. You had Sean Deeb was there. You had John Monet there, Angry John. And he just was there. He's got swagger. He's got confidence. And people pick up on that, man.
Yeah. That picture that Rachel took of him with his feet up, he's recreating Bobby Knight from the Air movie. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, it's good. I saw it. Yeah, it's good. But he's got the Nikes on. He's got the cigar. He's got the sunglasses, the 80s sunglasses. I mean, holy shit, it looks good. Then there's another picture that Rachel took of him and Ali Najad. That's also like, I mean, it's a fucking album cover. It's a fucking record. I mean, it's for me, it was too much. For me, it was too much. I mean, okay, we get it, dude. You are a fucking stud, and you won the stud. I've seen this as a joke. I mean, my God, where do we go from here?
He reminds me of Pete Davidson, or vice versa. Pete Davidson reminds me of him. Pete Davidson, of course, Saturday Night Live, dated like Ariana Grande and all these famous actresses or what have you. Yeah. And it's like, how does he do it? You know, like I don't get it, but he's just doing it and he's just got it. Whatever it is, he's got it. And Nick Schulman does have it. And, you know, just from a poker player's perspective, 4 bracelets, that puts him in some very exclusive company. He's had a very strong career and he's still young. You know, I don't know exactly how old he is, but what he's doing, what he's building, the legacy, it is a
High stakes poker too, man. He's fucking crushing
he's a
it.
commentator there.
It's exciting to see what he's done, and to start the summer like this. Let's fucking go, Nick
Poker
Schulman.
Hall
Let's
of Famer
go.
in the making, I think.
Yeah, okay. We got to reset the clock. Doug Polk on the shootout, dude. I mean, how crazy is it that we had ChatGPT? We put all the people who were in the thing to see who ChatGPT would predict as the winner. It predicted Doug Polk, and when it got down to 4, he's still in it. Then he gets down to fucking 2, and he's still in it. I mean, my God, I thought we were all gonna get fired. Like, obviously, we don't need us anymore. ChatGPT, fucking you guys can do it. I mean, were you watching this shit, Chad?
I was. I thought it was quite interesting. Doug Polk has been in the news quite a bit recently for the last, I don't know what it is, 6 weeks. More than that probably with the whole Matt Berkey, Nick Airball stuff, then the Charlie Carroll stuff. But then he goes over to Hustler Casino Live and plays in the $1 Million game, loses like $1 million. We talked about it in the last episode where he randomized with his aces. Yep. And then he says, you know what? I'm already in LA. Let me just hop over to the World Series of Poker and play this 25K Heads Up Championship. Heads Up is his game, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he makes a run. It was exciting. And he's not here for the summer. He's going back to Austin. He's got a family. He's got his business down there. So to come here, make a run, nearly win it. I thought he was going to pull it off, which would have been an incredible story, but he nearly fell one spot short.
He nearly didn't pull off when he was in against Brewer with Queens versus Kings on the river, spikes a 2-outer and does a fucking marathon lap around the whole fucking place 3 or 4 times. Holy shit, man. That was insane. But he did not take the title down. Did not win his 4th bracelet. That went to Mr. Kuhn. Chen Racy Kuhn takes down the bracelet and the title. And
it was funny. John Sofin, our colleague, he did an article, the 2 failed bluffs in 1 week that cost Doug Polk $700,000 because, of course, he bluffed against Tom Dwan on the Hustler Casino Live, losing a $1.1 million pot. And then in the finale against Chen Racy Kuhn, he ended up bluffing in a spot that got called and ultimately led to him finishing as runner-up.
There you go. The clock's up. Next title is Mystery Millions. Okay, we turned in 3 $1 million winners with this event. 1 with the first place finish, of course, but 2 got to draw a fucking envelope and just get surprised with $1 million. And we had 2 completely different reactions. Chad, did you pay attention to this?
I saw. This is funny because I was off. It was my first day off of it, and I was off last year during this event.
Yeah, we both were off.
I did. I went to see the new Spider-Man movie, and as soon as I got out of the theater, I pulled up social media because I wanted to see if these bounties were still available.
Yeah.
And I saw the reaction of the one that got excited, and I thought, all right, that's pretty good. I'm happy to see that. I didn't see the other one. Was it just another? Kind of ho hum. Oh, great! I just won $1 million.
Yes, it was so bad. Okay, so the first thing I'm talking about is Patrick Lang. Patrick was the one who pulled it, and he was so excited. He says he's going to give $1,000 to every player at the table when he goes back, which is so cool. So, I mean, fucking, that's what we need is that kind of fun, energy, excitement. However, Shant Marashlian is the gentleman who pulled the first time, and you can tell he pulls it. He's just like, and he says to, I think it's either Natalie Bode or to our people, he says like, yeah, I'm just worried about the taxes.
Yeah, geez.
I'm pulling my hair. I'm like, in that case, don't fucking enter this tournament.
Yeah.
What, are you looking for a min cash?
Yeah.
What, you're worried about the taxes? Fuck, are you kidding me?
How much money do you have that you're like, that's your concern?
Like, oh, I just got $1 million. I don't want it though. Fucking give it to the next guy then. Take the fucking 25K. You still have taxes?
Yeah.
I mean, how is that a reaction to, oh.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan about that.
Brutal.
These mystery bounty events are viral moments for poker. You don't get a lot of that outside of the live streams and stuff. And so with $1 million bounties too, and 2 of them. I mean, come on. And then of course
that was crusher. I mean, that wasn't planned. The plan was 1, but they had such a great number turn out.
Right.
So
and there was $1 million up top to the winner, which ended up being Tyler Brown.
Yep, but good job, Patrick. Your fucking reaction was amazing. All right, ding, ding, ding. Okay, new topic. We're going to Alan. Oh, I like this one. Alan Kessler gets his 100th WSOP cash. I got to tell you though, I looked at WSOP and I only count 99.
Well, WSOP is a little bit late to the party when updating their.
They got one from the most recent ones. It's from June 2nd.
I don't know. So, I'll tell you what. I trust Alan Kessler more than I trust WSOP.com.
83 and 16. That's 99, buddy. I'm just telling you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over. I pulled up his top 10 WSOP caches because we talk about a lot about Kessler's min caches. Let's give him a little clap. Good job, Alan, on your 100th cache if it's real. But let's go. Do you know about these? The top 10? Let's.
I think his biggest one was he won a World Series of Poker circuit main event at Foxwoods years ago for a ring, right?
You're wrong. That's not his biggest. No? So number 10 is 38K, 320th place in the main event in 2019. Well done. 9th, 41K in 2022 08. It's all different games. It's one other thing I like about Kessler's caches. PLO is 57,000 euros. That's in Europe, of course. 7th is 73K, first place at a circuit event. 6th is 76K at the WSOP stud event. Now we get into the 6 digits, 132, 134, 140, 170th. It's the first place. That's his second biggest cash in 2014, 2015. But his top cash is his second place finish in 2010 in the stud high-low 8 or better for 276K. Wow. I mean, Alan's fucking crushed it. Yes, there's lots of chainsaw jokes about his min caches and his horrible takes on food. But fuck, Alan, good job on 100 WSOP caches. I've only got 2.
Yeah.
I've only got 2. I'm miles away from Mr. Kessler.
100 caches has only been done 26 times. He's the 26th player to do that. 100 caches at the World Series of Poker, which is pretty incredible. But as incredible that is, he doesn't have one of these, right, Alan? You got to get one of these. You might think this one is fake, but I'm touching it.
Mute his mic. Fuck that guy. Turn it off. All right, we're done. Moving on. Hellmuth, $600. Okay, so what happens is apparently Hellmuth and Negreanu were talking, and Negreanu's like, "Are you gonna fire this online bracelet event?" And Hellmuth says, "Nah, I like to play live poker these days. I'm gonna play this $600 buy-in mega fest of 6,000 players." And fuck my life, does he not run deep? He doesn't make it to the final table, sadly, but 47th place out of 6,000 to start the summer. I'm fucking feeling good about my Phil Hellmuth winning before Negreanu. I'm sorry, but I told you last week, I'm my PH, dude.
Yeah, Negreanu. So I watch his vlogs every day during the World Series. Yeah. This has been a tradition for me, and I love Negreanu. But one thing he does shy away from are these smaller buy-in tournaments with the massive fields. Right? He just prefers the bigger buy-in stuff. Whereas Phil Hellmuth, he doesn't. He just wants to play. He's not afraid to mix it up, and I love to see that because I know what it means to the players he gets to play with. Right? They go back to their hometowns across the world, say, "Oh, I got to play with Phil Hellmuth." I seen a social media post from this very event where a dealer was super excited, asked somebody to take his picture. He was dealing to Phil Hellmuth. He gets to show that photo to his dad because him and his dad back home used to watch Phil Hellmuth blow-up videos on YouTube, right? So it's those sort of stories and those sort of experiences that the recreational player wants. When they come to Vegas to play in the WSOP, they're hoping to play against a guy like Daniel Negreanu or Phil Hellmuth. And I feel like of all the big names, Phil Hellmuth is the one who actually will get out there in these smaller events and give those recreational players that opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm just excited to see Hellmuth run good already to start. Like, this is what I want to see. This is my, I mean, it feels like WSOP wasn't a year ago, but to start it off with a Hellmuth run deep in such a cheap event, let's fucking go. I'm ready. Speaking of ready, I think we're ready to move on to the next one. So we'll just kill that clock. Let's go with Chris Brewer, run bad. This came from our Twitter space yesterday. I mean, I had to do some digging to find some stuff. But yeah, okay, we know Chris Brewer, of course, ran bad with Doug Polk when Polk's Queens versus Brewer's Kings. Doug rivered. He spiked on the river, one of his 2 outs, his queen, and to take Brewer down to dust, basically. But basically, what I've heard, Chad, is that Brewer was famous, 2 years ago for having this beautiful party in the back. What do they call it?
Mullet?
Mullet, yeah. The word escaped me, thank God. But yeah, a mullet. And when he cut the mullet, apparently all of his run good just fucking disappeared. And I was shocked. Yeah, he's had some big hits, in the last year or so with first place in Paris, first place Triton, but he's also had some sick 2-outers and shit. Really, just stab him in the back. And so I pulled up a hand history from Triton from 2 weeks ago, where against the head of Triton, the creator, he was Mr. Young. He was just running into shit. So it was Jack 10 versus King 10. The Jack 10 kicks him. Then what else was it? Oh, he flopped 2 pair, and his Jack 10 again. Now against Queens goes runner for quads. Like, he has been running bad, man.
So I have little sympathy, and here's why.
Okay.
There's no denying he's lost some pretty bad hands, some brutal hands, and maybe he'd be even doing better had he won those hands, of course. But Couple things. He's having a career year.
Oh, yeah.
He already is. This is his career year, 2023. He has already won $3.6 million. He won nearly $3 million last year. And in 2021, he won just over $3 million. So he's having a career year. And as you mentioned, he's won some tournaments, right? He won the Super High Roller at the EPT Paris. He won a Triton event. I can't feel that bad for the guy, man.
Grow the hair back. Grow the mullet back. Bring it back. That's all I'm saying. Okay, next topic. HCL, Hustler Casino Live. It's the $1 million game's over. What comes next?
This is my feeling on it, right? The $1 million game was a big success.
Yeah.
Now you rest, recharge. It's the off season for you because the World Series of Poker is happening. I used to work for the Mid-States Poker Tour. We learned early on, maybe we'll hold an event, but we're not going to expect it to make headlines or to be a big smashing success. The World Series of Poker is so big that you just have to let it dominate the summer. But that's a good opportunity to take a step back, recharge, have some vacation time, and come up with some new ideas for after the WSOP. I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm confident that the Nick Vertucci, Ryan Feldman, and the entire crew over there are probably busy thinking of something. And how do we follow it up with this $1 million cash game? Now, what I hope they don't do is kill the golden goose, Jesse, because I've seen this happen in the poker world a lot. The Seminole Hard Rock was a great example. Years ago, they had a $10 million guarantee. Huge success. It was the talk of the poker world. They're like, oh, let's do it again in 6 months. $2.5 million overlay. They just got like too much too fast.
Yeah, no, I mean, what's nice is Nick Vertucci jumped into our Twitter space yesterday and kind of weighed in a little bit on his thoughts. And you're right. Take a break during WSOP, obviously. That's why they're so happy they planned the $1 million game right before. They said, we'll probably do this again next year, right before again, because the timing was so fucking good. But then it's like, what's next? We're going to rebuild and see. I hope we get to see Mr. Beast again. For me, that was so entertaining because it was such a great way to pull people in who weren't in poker. My fucking kids love Mr. Beast content. So they were like, what, Dad? Oh, poker. Oh, we might care a little bit, maybe. I mean, it's just, I miss that. I think Hustler's the place for that kind of content. I think, with the chess players with stuff, we've come close, but that Mr. Beast game was so fucking good. I hope we see another one of those games soon. Maybe we can pull in more Hollywood stars. Something. Yeah. We're in Hollywood. We're in fucking LA.
Hustler Casino Live is perhaps the best way to get new people into the game right now, in my opinion.
Yep. All right. It's our last topic. Let's talk about Chad winning 2 Dealer's Choice bracelets. My God. 7, not you, fucker. No, not you.
Not me.
No, the other Chad. The more important Chad. The important Chad. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Chad Eveslage. He was a guest on the Poker News podcast. I believe it was earlier this year after coming off winning the World Poker Tour Player of the Year. Just denying Steve Buckner, of course, but he won, I think, 2 WPT titles and then WPT Player of the Year. He comes to the World Series of Poker. Last year, remember, he won his first bracelet. We're only a week in. Literally, today is a week. He's already won 2 bracelets. 2 Dealer Choice bracelets. He is a crusher in every regard. He's the early favorite now for Player of the Year, and he's still got 6 weeks left to win potentially a third and maybe become the first player ever to win 4 in a single WSOP. He knows how to play no limit. He knows all the mixed games. The guy is it's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, that photo of him holding 2 bracelets already is just so sick. At day 7, it just makes no sense. I remember when Merson won his second bracelet, obviously 11 years ago, and how cool it was to have a player win 2 in a year, and he won POI. I think that Chad is definitely the contender for this, and now it's simply who can challenge him. Yeah. And we're gonna have to see a fuck ton of Sean deep cashes, Negreanu really grinding out and making some deep runs. But fuck, this is really gonna put a big a big hindrance.
I'm trying to pull this up before the clock gets called, and I probably won't get it in time. But the 25K fantasy draft, whoever had
he was undervalued too.
Yeah, like whoever's got
big
him
time.
Is going to be a huge early favorite to win thing.
Without doubt.
It's the guy. Yeah, he's just a crusher, and like winning 2 in the first week and knowing he's going to put in the volume, he's not going to stop. He's got to be the favorite for Player of the Year by a large margin right now.
Boom. Okay, that's calling the clock. And now it's time for us to welcome our guest. I'm a big fan. Let's bring in Steve Buckner. All right. It's time for our interview, and I'm so excited. I was at the WPT Luxor final table last year, and I heard this guy holding a cigar just start screaming. And I was sitting there having a free drink, just looking over like, what is this? What? And I was so entertained by the man to my left, cuz Steve Buckner. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, I mean, holy shit. I mean, you were entertaining as hell at that WPT at Luxor last year. I can't remember all the things you said, but I just remember like everybody was just like, who is this guy? He's just screaming. And you were fired up, man. You were fired up. You were excited.
If he's in the room, you know. Like, if you've been at the World Series the first week and you've heard somebody getting excited, getting animated, it's probably Steve Buckner, a.k.a. Cuz.
Yeah.
You know what it is? We play a beautiful game, but I can't sit at a table for 12 hours. And what you see is what you get. There is no short. I had 23,000 in the 5K 8 max, 23,000. I was on fumes. Never panic. Talk the same shit I was talking when I had 180. So what you see is what you get. It's not like I'm chirping chips and what. I just love life and I love the game.
Yes.
So I have a lot of fun.
Good.
Some people don't like it, but guess what? We're not in a cemetery. You want to be in a cemetery? Go to a cemetery.
That's right. No, I'm good. I'm good here. I'm good here. I'm good. I don't want to be next to you, Steve, but I'm good close.
Right.
This is okay. It's okay. But if we have chips on the table, fuck that. Put me across the table. I don't want to be next to you. Hell no.
I mean, if there was a breakout player of the year, your name would be on the short list for last year. You just came kind of out of nowhere, crushed the WPT, had 2 runner-up finishes, were in contention for player of the year, and really made a name for yourself on the WPT. You're now here at the World Series of Poker. What's it been like for you in terms of, well, I mean, we can get into a little bit about your backstory, I guess, because where you're at now and where you come from is quite the interesting story.
That's it's the truth. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start when
you're a baby.
Yeah.
Your mom.
You were raised in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, it's a long story, Jess. We can't go that far, but I'm going to give you the short version. Born and raised in Brooklyn, had a rough childhood. We won't go there. It was really rough, but we'll back up to when I started. I was a bad boy. I started dealing drugs. Pulled my first heist when I was 13, and I already was gambling horses, and I got clean. The short version is 1985, I got clean. 86, I went in the car business, sold for 6 months, and I seen this guy wearing a suit and tie, and I said, man, I want his job. He's making 6 figures. It was 1986. I said, I know I can do it. I went to my big boss, Ben Russo, may rest in peace. He said, cuz I know you're going to leave me. He said, just go on an interview and I'll get you if they don't hire you, they'll have them call me. I went on an interview. I read the New York Times, true story. The guy looked at me, Bob Felson. I remember his name vividly. He said, Mr. Buckner, what are you doing here? It says in the New York Times, 5 years experience. I said, do me a favor, call my boss, Ben Russo. That was his name. He knew him. He was Bayside Dodge. He said, if you don't hire that kid, you're making a big mistake. Mm-hmm. He said, I don't want to lose him. But he's been selling, he's number 1 salesman from the day he started. I was selling 30, 35 cars a month. No BS, straight up. Man, I got the job. I got the job. Now I was making $75,000 a year if I stayed a year. This girl, Miss Applegate, says, are you willing to go to Long Island? I said, okay. Drove all the way for the interview from Brooklyn, all the way to exit 64 on the LIE, not far from Will the Thrill. Got the job. I made $139,000 my first year. It was 1987.
Wow,
that was a lot of money.
Oh,
yeah. So anyway, and then I never played poker. Now we're going to just surplus. We're going to go back. I've been a millionaire 3 times, homeless 3 times. We won't go in between that. You heard the story. If you didn't, listen to the podcast, Matt Berkey's podcast. I didn't even know what a podcast was. He called me after the true story. Ask him. His boy calls me up and says, hey, cuz, where are you? I said, it's 2 days after the tournament. I'm tired. I'm chilling at Caesars. You got to come to my studio. Your studio for what? He said, we got a podcast. We want you to be on it. I said, what the fuck is a podcast? He said, just get in the car and because you don't need to act. You don't need no script. Yeah, just be you. So anyway, where was I? I got off track.
New York, driving to.
Oh yeah, the job was over. Yeah. Then homeless 3 times. Then I got out of the car business in 2018.
Oh shit, that long. Whoa, yeah.
17. Well, let's back up. 16, I was a millionaire. 17, I was broke. A guy by the name of, I won't mention his name, he said to me, cuz, where are you? I'm at Caesars living on my 7-star. He'll verify the story. His name is Ted. won't give his last name. He said, "You're broke?" I said, "Yeah, how could you be broke? You're a millionaire." I said, "I'm broke." He said, "Don't worry, walk across the street. By the time you get from Caesars to Venetian, I'm leaving $1 million tournament. I'm going to get you $1,500. You play any event you want." I played the 6 max the following day. I have 4,000 chips. I get cool at Queens to King. Button folds, button folds, button folds. He has all the chips. In the 6 max?
Okay.
Queens to Kings, make a long story short, I bring it up to 123 days. I make the final table with Matt Berkey, Daniel Wyman, Joe Marchese. And now I was broke. I had no money in my pocket. I had $100. Now I have 121K. I gave him 60.
You finished 4th in that one?
I finished 4th.
Yeah.
I gave him 60 dimes. I paid off all my debts. When you're a millionaire, you don't care about your credit. Now, guess what? I'm broke. I paid off all my credits. I'm broke again.
Yeah.
Went back to school at 18 for health insurance. My young friend's son was making 6 figures, driving a new Benz. I said, I want his job. I'll never forget. No. I grabbed him. He's bigger than you. I grabbed him, picked him up, and he's taller, but big boy. I picked him up and I said, "You love me? Get me that job. Get me the interview. I need a job." Went back to school, was making 6 figures again, and then Mama got cancer. And
I know that's a big thing with you. We've talked about it off the felt, and I know that she passed, and you took care of her, and your playing. A lot of that was dedicated to her and her memory and stuff, which I think was a great story.
4 months I took care of her. But anyway, so after she passed, I couldn't go back to work. So I met this kid when he was 25, and he said to me, "If you ever need anything, cuz call me." He was making a lot of money in the car business. He was in the wholesale business. He used to wholesale. I was on the retail side. He said, "If you ever need me, cuz call me." 24 years later, I called him. I had 2 backers. One backed out on me, and then this kid picked his name PJ. He said, "I got you.
Right.
Just send me the money for the cigars, the food." It was like he was my mother's angel. Listen, you don't find too many people like that in life. No. Okay. He knew when I called him, before I asked him, he said, "I know you're new to Facebook. I know you lost your mom. Go on, I know what you want to do." I mean, I didn't ask him. He knew what I want to do because I was new to Facebook and locked down. Make a long story short, I know he's my mother's angel. Yeah. He changed my life.
Because it was through him that you got to start playing these WSOPs,
well,
right?
him and another guy by the name of Steve Glazerman. Let's give him a little credit. Sure. Steve Glazerman was the who somebody else backed out. I don't want to mention his name. He backed out. He didn't think I was good for the 3rd bullet. He said, "I'm out." He loaned me to 3,500. Steve Glazerman, we're not talking. He thinks that it's on him.
Sure.
We were in the red 20 dimes. I'm not. Once you drop me, you drop me. 2 days before the Bellagio, he dropped me. It's okay.
Yeah.
I forgave him. He might have lost all his money. That's his business. But I called him up. I said, "Let's smoke a cigar. Well, I want to hang out with you." No. So anyway, so the PJ just pressed the button for the 10-4. By the way, it's the butterfly effect, guys. The butterfly effect, if you don't know what it is I would have never been on that. I would have never been in that line, that ticket. I would have never squeezed with ace jack against kings against jacks. And we never would have 245,000 when the blinds were 5. So it's the butterfly. I would have never been at that seat. So everything happens for a reason. And my backer said, PJ said, I pressed the button, go take Uber there, got my money, went. So everything happens for a reason. I mean, I don't knock. I'm grateful for Steve. He made these shirts for me. Go Cuz. There
you go.
Go Cuz. I still wear them. And yeah. I love the kid, and hopefully he'll be able to. I didn't rape him. I didn't steal no money from him. Hopefully someday he could come around and become a man. Become a man and let's smoke cigars together. I love the kid,
There you go.
So I got to give both props.
Sure.
Steve, so one thing I like about your history, we both have a similar job. I mean, I've had some crazy jobs. It sounds like you had some crazy jobs too. But one of those, we both have sold cars.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, one day I sold 4 cars and one day on a Thursday. That was a big, crazy day for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, boss. One day I bought a car from someone for like, I think $6K, held it, sold it for 18 the next day, and all that commission was mine. Yeah. Oh, it's fucking gold.
Yeah.
So all that said, I know personally people can have some crazy ass car sale stories. Tell me what your craziest story is.
I told you in the interview, I'm long-winded, I'm going to make it short. It was my first day of the training. And we had people who live in New York. It was called the old Vogue Tire. It's on Northern Boulevard. It's a strange building, and the sales office was upstairs with no ceiling, and it had staircase like a fire station when you come down.
Yeah.
Well, this old man came with 2 bags. He looked like a homeless guy, and all the professional salesmen said, "Guess what? You're gonna have your first up." I flew down that stairs.
Oh yeah.
Guess what? This is a true story.
I believe.
Never judge a book by its cover.
For sure. Yeah.
This guy came in and said, "I need 18 vans.
Shut up.
I have an ambulance." Look at this. I'm getting the chills telling the story. He said, "I need 18 vans." I said, "Excuse me, sir. This is my first day. Let me get my manager, Joe." Oh, my God. It'll come to me. Nice Italian guy. I get the chills. Never judge a book by its cover. He had all the money. He had all the deposits for all the deposits in the cash in the little bags.
Yeah.
I learned one lesson back in 1986.
Yeah, it's a lesson in poker too. Like we call it pajama rich, right? You see some poker players who dress very shabbily.
Yeah.
They might have all the money. They might be the casino owners.
Never judge a book by its cover.
When
So that's a good lesson.
No shit. When I sold cars, Chad, I was told if you sell one a day, you're lucky. So hope that you can maybe get 20 a month.
Right.
Yeah,
So
lucky.
no shit, right? Yeah, I mean, 18 to 20 is pretty much close to the very top.
Yep.
So when Cuz says he sold 30, 35 a month, fuck, he was a god to car sales. Okay. So for him to sell 18 vans in one day, I mean, that's like winning the lottery.
Wait,
that's
just
like
my
winning the lottery.
first. It was
Just
my
never happened.
first
First day.
up.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was my first day. I was in training. I swear, it was my first up. I started to shake. I said,
That's when they start making excuses why you can't get commission too. It's
I'm
like,
trying to
they
think,
still
Jess,
do.
I'm trying to think of the guy's name. I swear, may he rest in peace. The nicest guy.
Oh.
He came from Bay Ridge. He used to pick me up on the side of the Belt Parkway because I was homeless.
Yeah.
And I drove. I had, in New York, they give you a lot of tickets. I had so many tickets that I couldn't get a license. So I had to take the bus and train. On Saturdays, there were no buses or trains.
Yeah. I mean, Steve, you've had a roller coaster life, man. You've had a roller coaster life, and I'm so glad you're here today. I'm glad that we have had the opportunity to meet you and what led us here. But I want to hear more of your crazy stories, man. Homeless 3 times. I mean, what's next? Yeah, we can talk more about the history.
I want to ask a couple things like your cuz catchphrase. It's the biggest thing for me as far as since Scotty Wynn's baby. Scotty Wynn is always saying baby. You're always saying cuz. Where does that come from? It's
a New York Philly thing. Hey, cuz. It's like a friend, instead of saying bro, I don't like bro.
Sure.
Don't call me
Yeah,
bro. It's like cuz. It's a warm way of saying hey, cuz. And then I know so many people. Chad, I can never remember.
Yeah.
But back in New York, it was more when you were hanging out in the neighborhood. It was, hey, cuz, how you doing? What are we going to do tonight? That's all.
Love it.
And it's a Philly. It is, let's say, Brooklyn didn't make it. New York didn't make it. Philly. It's a real Philly, New York thing.
My other question is the cigars. That's become kind of your trademark. You always have a cigar. What is it? Do you have a preference? Do you what's your cigar name?
What I smoke. I mean, I smoke 5 a day for 35 years. I mean, while I'm playing, I probably smoke 3 because of the breaks.
Yeah.
But it's not a trademark, it's my enjoyment.
Sure. What
really,
kind?
really
What's your preference?
Well, I want to give a tout out to I believe one of the best. I know him I was at his wedding. His name is Eric Espinosa. It's 601 Cigars. I remember when he rolled his first cigar. He asked me, it was called the Rio of the Vibe. He asked me about how I liked it. He knew I was an avid cigar smoker back years ago, over 20 years ago. I said, throw it in the garbage. It's no good. And then he had one of the best rollers, rolled a cigar for him, Don Pepin Garcia, who rolls my father's cigars. He's on his own. He has his own factory in Esteli called the La Zona Factory. That's a shout out to Eric. The cigars are phenomenal. Padron 1926s, Fuente, Todo Fuente, Opus X.
I'm not much of a cigar guy. I went to Cuba once upon a time and brought back some Monte Cristos and Cohibas.
Great cigars. Yeah.
Michael Kaplan is a great poker writer, and he does articles occasionally about poker for Cigar Aficionado. Phil Hellmuth's been on there, a lot of other Phil Ivey, I think.
Yep.
If he's watching or listening, they should reach out to you.
I think it would
poster boy for cigars and poker.
Right. I think it would be It would be an unbelievable interview.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that'd be great. That'd be fucking great.
I also want to ask.
Yep.
We've talked about the WPT. You finished runner-up in 2 huge fields. You ended up finishing runner-up in WPT
Yep.
Player of the Year.
Yep.
Despite all that, made a huge name for yourself. But now we're at the World Series of Poker. I'm just curious. Would you rather win a World Poker Tour title or a WSOP bracelet?
Oh God, what a loaded question. Jesus. I'm gonna share it with you.
Okay.
I knew Mike Sexton. I want to be on the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hurt. The second one hurt. It's just poker. You know, these young kids got many, many years to win a bracelet or two. And look at Chad Eveslage, look at beat me. Then he goes to Hard Rock. If he gets fourth, he can't beat me. And he gets third. I mean, listen, it's his time. Listen, in order to go deep in tournaments, you got to be good, obviously. But then the luck factor is there. Obviously, we've seen it. You know, Queen 10 to Queen 9 and then Queen State. But we always remember the bad. I never advertise. I'm not Alan Kessler. I don't advertise it. No, I don't report on my Facebook page. Chad, you're a friend of mine on Facebook. All I say is next in caps.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yep.
Chad?
Yep.
Next. It's just poker.
Yeah.
But they're younger. I'm getting older. I'm in the third quarter of the game called life. But guess what? God has given me an opportunity, and my mother's given me an opportunity to travel the world with PJ now. And he's been selling me houses. I'm living the dream. If I don't win a bracelet or a title, there's always going to talk about cuz when I'm playing the big game with Gavin Smith, Lane Flack, and Dor Brunson and all the other boys, the Chip Reeses. We're all going to be playing in the big game anyway. So guess what? I'm living a dream, Chad. I really am. There's nothing better than traveling the world.
So Chad jumped ahead, and I love that question. But before we get even that far into like what you're thinking about, I want to know how you got into poker, cuz. Like I looked at Hendemob, and I saw your very first cash was an 05 at of all things, a WSOP bracelet event. I mean, that's the deep end to jump into for your first cash. So tell me more about your history.
Quickly, ready?
Okay.
05, we're in a cigar joint.
Okay.
We're in my friend's cigar joint. He says, at the time I had a lot of money. And they said, give me 200. I said, for what? Okay, here it is. And then after I gave them the money, I said, for what? We're going to play a satellite. We're going to play a 3-table tournament. I said, are you going to teach me the game? What kind of game is it? It's called Texas Hold'em. I have nothing to do. We're smoking cigars with 30 guys. There's 10 at each table. There's 30. And they do it twice a week. I played. I won. I said, oh, this is easy. I said, okay. The next tournament, I get second or third. And they had it on TV. I said, hey, cuz, they're playing the same game we are. That's on ESPN. Where are they? They said, they're in Vegas, the World Series of Poker. I said, can I go? So when you see my first cash, I went, entered 4 tournaments, cashed 2, but I had a career.
Yeah.
I was selling cars, I was running dealerships, I was working. I can't tell my boss I'm going away for a month or two.
No.
So if you all look at all those caches from 05 to 2017, that was recreational.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
When Mama died, then I went on the road.
Yeah.
And I believe that this game, in order to be good, like any other game, like golf, you need to play consistently, and play with the best in the world. I mean, I learned something new every day. When you stop learning, you're dead. So that's how I got into the game of No Limit Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
Next is I'm going to start learning some mixed games.
Yes, that was going to be one of my questions.
I have to.
Yeah.
I have to. Because we used to play 7-card stud. That I played when we were kids.
Yeah.
And 5-card. Yep.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fucking fun.
Mixed
games are already sweaty, and
What?
I'm a mixed game. I'm a big lover of mixed games, and I mean to have someone like Cuz.
All right.
there,
So where should
oh,
I go to learn the game?
Oh, I mean,
Just
you're
put my
at the-
money. I
you're
got
at
to
the
put my
World Series.
You know what?
Shit,
I'm going to
it's the
put my
place.
money up just like I did in the 5Ks and the 10Ks and the 15Ks. When the Bellagio came, I won my seat into the 15K for 1,500, and I got 16th. That was my first big cash.
I was going to say, yeah, we could tell you to pick up a book and that,
Yeah,
but like
no
the
book.
best, experience is
You
just,
know, I've never read a book in my life. I just go out and I just put my money out. I think the best way you learn is by playing.
yeah.
I like the 8 game because the 8 game 8 game, just like Dealer's Choice, has so many games that it feels like, especially if you can find like a 1K or $1,500 buy-in.
Yeah.
There's going to be people who are like, "How do you play this again?" And you just jump in. So remind me again. How many of those cards do I play? I mean, that's
Oh, yeah. I don't mind asking. I'll tell them I'm new. I don't give. Let them take advantage.
Yeah, that's right. If it's just Omaha or one of those, then it's like
I know Omaha.
Yeah,
I know. I don't.
Stud 8, 08.
Yeah.
But when it comes to 8 game or dealer's choice, there's so many games. I mean, I play some cash resorts occasionally. They have a good mixed game, like a 4-8, like just low stakes mixed games. I'll jump into, and it's the same thing where I always come back. I'm like, it's been 3 months. I fucking forgot all of them.
Okay.
Like, remind me again, please. Every fucking game they have to do that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
No
it's
problem.
it's a good.
It's
spot.
good.
There's
I'm going to do it because what's 1,000 or 1,500?
Right. So is it safe to assume that if you're thinking about learning mixed games, you're talking about being on the road, like you're not slowing down anytime soon, right? The poker world hasn't seen the last of you for a while.
Come on, Chad. I was in the Bahamas. I was in Oklahoma, Tulsa. I mean, Choctaw. I was in Brazil. I was in Panama, the country. Yeah. I want to travel. There's no stopping. If God willing, I stay healthy the way I am, I'm not stopping by any time means.
One of the reasons I'm so happy to get you on the show, because I've known you now for a little while. And I know that, I've been at a poker table earlier this World Series of Poker, and you are a few tables away, and you go, you start your yelling and screaming, right. And there are players who don't really like that sort of thing, you know, and so you're kind of polarizing in that regard. But I think once people know your story, get to know you like I have, they see where that comes from, and that
the passion.
and the respect for the game type stuff.
But I also wear my heart right here on my sleeve, so you can't hide that.
Right.
You cannot hide it.
No.
It's not like I'm acting. There is no acting there. That
Right.
is who I am, right? When you see me out there, we're smoking cigars. I'm joking. I mean, I would just wish the game would be a little bit more interactive.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jamie Gold rule really, really fucked. I personally think screwed the game because we should be able to at least. I believe we should at least be able to speak heads up,
Right.
Not 3-way or 4-way. But we need to look at that because what's happening is the game has become really, really dull for not when I'm at the table. Tell the truth.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
No,
You walk into a room and it feels like you're in a fucking in a cemetery or you're in a going to a funeral or a museum. You're in. I just don't. I can't do it.
No,
I'm just
and
sorry.
I think that's why I like you so much. Is you're a character.
Yeah.
Right? You're a character.
Without
and
a shadow of a
people
doubt.
are always talking about how do we get more characters in the game or find them because that's what they fell in love with back in the poker boom days.
Oh,
Yes.
no doubt.
Yeah.
And Hellmuth.
Yeah, and you
Tony
just don't
G,
you just don't see as
No
many
more.
characters, right? And if you do, they're not as genuine. They're people who are putting on an act or
Right.
trying to.
Guys
put on an
wearing
act.
Santa Claus outfit.
Yeah.
Guy wearing a Kentucky Fried Jerky hat on his head. I mean, that's looking to get on camera.
I dressed as King Henry VIII. Don't talk shit about
That
that.
was Halloween. That was Halloween.
But you understand what I'm saying.
I do,
They're
yeah.
doing it to get TV time. I don't do anything. It is what it is. I wear a sweatsuit outfit and a cigar, and I'm me.
Yeah.
What else we're going to discuss?
I mean,
Where else?
tell us, because this summer we just got started. You're already here. Are you here the whole time? Are you here through the end?
I checked in May 22nd. I got here a week early because I got knocked out of the WPT Hawaiian Gardens main event.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not going to go back to Florida. So I got checked in the 22nd, which is I was supposed to check in the 28th. I'm here till July 21st.
Let's go.
My last event is going to be the 10K Six Max Champion. I played it last year. I was 20 off the money. I played to win, not to min cash. I probably could have min cashed, but I don't play that game. My backer said to me, if you ever think you're going to go to min cash, you can find somebody else because I know you go to win. I know you're a grinder, and I know you give everything you got. Just don't sit there and get blinded out.
Right.
I mean, he didn't tell me that. I told him that. He just repeated what I said.
That's good. That's good.
We are certainly excited to watch your journey throughout the 2023 World Series of Poker.
Oh, yeah.
Really appreciate your time.
pleasure.
Your story is fantastic. You know we love you.
I love you too.
And
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being
And I
here.
did cash too. I'm 2 for 3 so far, so we're okay.
There you go. Off to a good start. That's going to do it for this episode of the Chad and Jesse Poker Show. We're recording new episodes every Tuesday and Friday, all summer long. So be sure to stay tuned. And of course, check out PokerNews.com for all the updates from the 2023 World Series of Poker.